Check 1, check 2. Catch our mixtape dropping 2020.
That's right.
We have to, it's hard to, I'm trying to think of some sort of rap name, but it can't be a play on Ebony and Ivory. I refuse.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. You ready to do this?
Yeah, let's do it. Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. Today we are here Bei Nacht in Berlin und Bei Tag. So now it is daytime here in Berlin. We're recording the little second snippet of today's episode. And we're happy to be here in cloudy Kreuzberg. It's been a fun day. What have we been doing, Jared?
Welcome, Jared. Apparently Chad does not know how to do a goddamn intro.
In person, I guess.
In person.
Yeah, we might have to try that again later.
Before I get into what we've been doing, please follow us on Instagram. You can see what we've been doing on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. I've posted a couple pictures already. Story's been on fleek. I got some cool shots of the Oberbaum Bridge. Got a shot of East Side Gallery. Mm-hmm. And yesterday I got a shot of you peeing on the street.
Wonderful.
Or you can follow us on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. Follow us on, you can also send us an email, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Tell us your untranslatable phrases, for example, or just fun dialectical terms. For example, Späti is a fun little convenience store that sells beers. Or Kiez, as we mentioned on the other part, is a neighborhood.
Both very important words here in Berlin.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Or you can send us your untranslatable phrases, which are idioms, sayings, things. No, idioms, sayings, proverbs, and just fun sayings that don't really make any sense, but you know exactly what they mean. So yeah, what have we been doing? And one other thing. I can't forget this.
Spread a little love.
We got made fun of by, who was it? Was it Matthias? Mm-hmm. For having a low number of reviews?
Yep.
Hey. Spread a little love. 5-star reviews. People are making fun of us in public now. Do you want that? Are you happy with that? And if so, you need to see a psychologist, you sick people. Spread a little love.
Definition of spreading some love right there.
That was definitely one of the most aggressive asks for a 5-star reviews I've done, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, we're in Berlin, and this is day 2. We talked about, our last episode was filmed hours ago at 3 a.m, essentially. Yep. And we went to bed, 4 a.m? Mm-hmm. Woke up at 1, got out of bed at 2. Yep. And, we actually got out of bed at noon and left at 1. And then we went to go get schnitzel, which was a cool place. It seemed like, at first, just by viewing it outside, it seemed like it would be touristy, but it didn't feel touristy on the inside. It felt just like a old-fashioned kind of schnitzel place. That was delicious.
Very Berlin style, with the interior having the kind of also graffiti-esque.
Oh yes,
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I figured out the term, and I told it to you right before we started this. Anti-establishment.
Yep.
I knew there was some sort of word because it's not like they're not rebels. I mean, but
I would say
think
there's
so.
Some
but
rebelliousness there.
I think that's simplifying it, calling them just rebels.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it is
art.
It does seem like there's just this overall we're not going back there kind of thing. Like we're different.
Yeah.
And we are going to do things our own way, and that's what I love about it. And so now that I've seen it by Tag, I think I've had more time to kind of analyze the architecture, analyze the aesthetic.
Soak it in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Natürlich, die Ästhetik.
Yes. One of my favorite words. The word of the trip.
Right. Jared's actually told me he's getting a tattoo on his chest right here of Ästhetik.
And I'll probably spell it wrong, too.
Right. Right. Exactly.
But yeah, the anti-establishment is the aesthetic that I'm picking up. And maybe I relate to that a little bit.
Okay.
The government can't tell me what to do. I'm a sovereign citizen.
Many fregista.
So we crossed the Oberbaum Bridge by day, which I'll have a picture. This will be perfect for when I post the this podcast. I'll have a picture of the Oberbaum Bridge by night and by day.
Oh, that's true.
And so we'll do that. And then we went to the schnitzel place, and then it's so great how close the East Side Gallery is.
Yeah.
It's literally just sort of right across
right
the
around
bridge.
the corner, basically.
And so we walked along that. A lot of cool art. Did you? What are some? So we've posted East Side Gallery pictures before because you and Jeff went there. We had an On the Road Again episode.
And Berlin was just too good to not come back.
And I don't think if we would have known that I would have been here so soon, we probably wouldn't have done that on the road.
No, I think
no,
it
was still
was
good.
Interesting
No, I'm
to
just
get
kidding. It
his
was still great.
perspective, But, yeah.
But so last time you were there, and actually I enjoyed that one a lot. But last time we were there, you were there. You went to the East Side Gallery. What sort of different installments did you see? Was there anything new that stuck out to you?
Well, I think what's changed is the portions. Right when you start by the Warschauer Straße U-Bahn, that little, if you go that way, the spots where there's a lot of graffiti, because some of them looks like untouched pieces of art.
Yeah.
They were. I don't know if they were commissioned. I don't know what the history is behind it.
But there are clearly certain ones that are protected.
Right. Yeah. You don't see any graffiti, anything on it at all, and so that's interesting to see. But it's cool to see that juxtaposed with the ones that are untouched and look so clean.
Yeah, and the East Side Gallery is like an outside museum essentially.
Yeah.
And
free, also very nice.
My favorite kind of museum.
Right.
And it is so cool to see, as you said, that juxtaposition of, and I think that speaks to the anti-establishment a little bit, where it's like maybe we don't take ourselves too seriously, or it's just this sort of very inclusive nature where it's like, yeah, we have this legitimate art, but there's still space for people to do their stuff.
To do their art, share their art. Yeah.
Like there was one a giant one that just in silver said, "I love sluts."
Oh yeah, that was.
It was actually kind of nicely done.
We didn't get a picture of it.
I didn't even think to get a picture of it.
But yeah,
this is a family show.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. I told Jared though as we were walking down the East Side Gallery, it is interesting how much English you see on the
art.
Yeah, exactly.
But it kind of makes sense though, because I assume the art's not all made by Germans.
No. But even some of the ones that were made by Germans, I think might have had English on them. Maybe. I could be wrong.
Well, if their goal is to reach as many people as possible, that's probably the way to do it. There's probably just as many, well, this is probably a dumb thing to say, but just as many non-native English speakers, or German speakers, non-native German speakers walking past that wall on a daily basis as German speakers.
Yeah. I think overall, I was actually doing a little people watching as well as we walked by the gallery.
Chad got by the way.
I did.
We'll talk about that in a second, but go ahead.
Yeah, I did. So I've seen the East Side Gallery a couple times. Not that it's not great to see. I think it's different when you go your first time.
Yeah, you're more focused. I was probably more focused on the art than you were.
Right, and I was kind of trying to soak in all the surroundings and everything else. I mentioned to Jared as well, it's really cool hearing all the different languages.
Yes.
When you walk down there, we heard Spanish, definitely Mandarin, Japanese, I think
Italian.
Russian, Italian, German.
We've probably heard a lot of languages. I've thought about this too, because you've mentioned Russian once or twice. And we've probably heard a lot of languages that weren't also just Russian, that just sound like it to us.
Could be Slavic, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's weird. I think I have a good ear for picking out
Пожалуйста.
Russian. Like we talked about this also, like picking out different accents.
And
I think accents are kind of like the color of language, like the little, you know what I mean, like the little cherry on top, the sprinkles, whatever.
We were talking about that with Matthias yesterday as well, about how accents, and we were talking also about how we were trying to figure out if if certain Germans or go to a certain area, they just won't understand if a lot of Germans go to Switzerland, they probably almost won't even understand what's being said.
Right.
And is there that same difference or that same sort of thing happening in America with dialects?
I think it depends on how clear the other person speaks.
Right.
So if you meet someone who lives out in the country, for example, or in a village somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
even I know there are some German villages, I couldn't give you names, but there are German villages that you can tell based on the way they say certain words that they're from this village or this village, and it's not that far away,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when you have that kind of specific accent regionally, maybe it could lead to people not understanding each other. The difference would be, can they both reach an agreement on how to communicate? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Matthias said, kind of using a Bavarian's version of like Hochdeutsch, or
Mm-hmm.
proper German.
Right. So it's
Slow it down and make it more comprehensible.
Yeah. Just enunciate.
Right.
That's a Bayern Hochdeutsch is just enunciate.
I think a lot of dialects in multiple languages, the enunciation is the problem.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely the main thing in America. That's stopping people from understanding stuff is enunciation.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's not that they're saying words for the most part that we don't know. It's just that it's like the speed with which you speak, which is a problem that we talk about. People, non-native English speakers, having all the time that Americans do, is we talk too fast.
When we mumble. I think a lot of Americans kind of mumble.
Yeah, probably.
I've been told by my colleagues at school I tend to speak very clearly. Most people have no problems, understanding me. But
have you heard of other English teachers? Because as an English teacher, it feels like you should be hyper aware of that.
Yeah, I try to be.
So you've heard of?
Did you notice when we were talking with Matthias, and his girlfriend and their friends? I changed the way I spoke depending on who I was speaking to, and it's not a matter of me trying to. Basically, it's me trying to be understood by these people.
Right.
And when they're not a non-native English speaker, or when they are a non-native English speaker, it's hard to tell how good their listening comprehension is, especially in a room when other people are talking. There's music in the background. I think, the whole reason why we communicate is to try to understand each other and be understood, right?
Of course, yeah.
So I try to be very aware of the vocabulary I use, how I say it, how fast I say it.
We did have a very interesting conversation. Maybe now that I'm removed from the situation a bit, I can see it a little clearer now.
Okay.
But we did also have a super, we were talking about all those different words that, like that super long French word. And I heard it, I was like, I think that's the exact same thing in English.
And you were right, 100% right.
And it was like, it was essentially the fear of super long words. And it's like hippo monstra something blah, blah, blah phobia. Yeah. And
it's got to be 7 or 8 syllables.
It was something like that. It was crazy. But yeah, no, I thought it was a cool conversation. And where I don't even know where we're going. Oh, we were talking about the East Side Gallery. So yeah, so here's one thing that's been a staple of this trip. Forget the German food, forget speaking German and feeling like I'm so limited in my ability to speak to my good friend Chad. But granted, we spoke a good bit of English today. But it's been raining nonstop since we got here.
Yep. Actually, I think it stopped.
Now that we're inside recording a podcast, it's not raining.
It stopped. Yeah. Go figure.
But
Murphy's Law.
It's but it has been raining continuously since we've been here. And yeah, it's not ideal. But I'd say this, I don't think it's really slowed us down.
Not really.
And I don't think it slows a lot of people down here. It seems like the streets are still pretty filled.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And it's not, the good thing is it's not like, it's more spitting. It's just like a constant spitting of rain. It's not like it's pouring to the point where our pants are getting soaked or
that would be
like
bad,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then I don't know I think then it might slow us down a little.
Oh, for sure.
But on and off rain you can handle. We came in, our stuff is drying as we're recording this. That's really why we came back, to dry our clothes. No, I'm just kidding.
And because Chad can't read a clock.
That's also true. That's also true. Man, when you spend how many years was it? 25 years in the United States where we don't use military time.
Yeah.
I still know military time, but I don't know why.
I leave my phone on it.
I do too. My phone's on military time as well.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, I for some odd reason must have mislooked, and we're having dinner with my friend later. Shout out to my buddy Ferdinand. And what's funny is I thought we're having dinner at 5:30. For some odd reason, I must have opened my phone and saw the 15 and saw the 5. And then for some weird reason thought, oh no, we're going to be late. We need to get going.
I still I use military on my phone. It's military time is what's there, and probably in my car too. But I still make those mistakes from time to time. Like I'll set an alarm sometime and be like, oh, that was set for 2 hours later than than I meant for it to be.
The worst is when I was studying in Austria. It was like the first or second day we were there. Or no, it was when we got back after our orientation in Mariazell, right?
Yeah.
And so I got to my apartment and I told my roommates, all right, I just want to lay down for like hour and a half. I'm really tired.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. Well, I forgot my little, this was like a brick. It wasn't even a smartphone, no internet, no nothing.
Dude, I love that phone.
Right?
It was so
those phones
freeing.
were great. Yeah.
You could text and call, and that was it.
That was it. Yeah. It was a step back in time.
Yeah, it was so freeing.
Maps off 24/7 in that case.
Because even now I have a phone that is a brick in the sense that, I mean, I can use it, but every time I put on the signal, I'm like, well, there goes a whole bunch of money in the 3 minutes that I.
Right. I mean, you don't really need it since my phone's been working.
Exactly.
Fine,
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, I went to go set the alarm. And my phone was on military time. It was like the first day I had the phone.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't realize it was on military time because it had been years since I had a brick phone anyways. And so I set it for 5:30. I woke up at like 8 and I was like, what happened? Like, what is this? And then I looked at my phone. I'm like, why didn't the alarm go off? And then I like crawled out of my room.
5 a.m.
Right? Crawled out of my room. My hair was probably all messed up, and I told
where am I?
Right.
What time is it?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I've definitely had I had this one. I swear I don't know if I was on drugs or something. This was as a child, by the way.
Okay.
I woke up. I took a nap, I guess, and I woke up and I came downstairs and started like eating breakfast. Come to find out, it was like 9 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah, the same day.
Okay.
I could have sworn I don't know. It must have been a great nap because I could have sworn I slept through the night. And I woke up and I started like. And the weird thing is, my parents were in the kitchen, and I was like, making toast and cereal, and they just no comment. They're eating. Really? No comment. And I was like, you guys aren't. All right, that's interesting. But yeah, I've done that even without the excuse of military time. My only excuse is, I don't know. I have no excuse.
Right.
Do you want to spread a little love?
Yeah.
You have one, don't you?
Yes, I do. I want to give a big shout out to my favorite basketball team in the entire world, Michigan State Spartans. Beat Michigan again, sweep them this season, are shared Big Ten champions with Purdue. So for MSU now, it's the second year they've at least won or shared the Big Ten title.
What does it mean to share it?
It means they have the same record. So MSU and Purdue have the same number of wins and losses.
Oh, that sucks. So there's no winner? There's no
It's tied. They're tied.
And there's no final game. Those two teams can't play each other
That
to just
would be
decide
epic.
one? That seems like the obvious choice.
You would think so, right?
That would be awesome. Just
That would be
one.
sweet.
Or I guess
Final
you could do a series too, but you could do
death.
just
No, dude, sudden death.
Sudden
Just
death.
one. Everybody on the other team gets kicked off the team. They have to find a new partner.
That seems like the obvious thing to do. No one wants to share a victory.
Right. But there
Not
have been,
me.
But there have been years that MSU and Michigan have shared titles as well. And this year could have almost was that year. Had Purdue lost one other game,
and then Michigan won.
Behind, and then if MSU and Michigan split the two games, then they would have shared the title.
How anticlimactic would it be for it to be the final game of the season, Michigan versus Michigan State, and if Michigan wins, then they Michigan lost, but like say if Michigan wins, then they share the title, and then Michigan wins. How anticlimactic would that
be?
be?
Have bragging rights.
Yeah.
Right, like, I beat you.
Like we all won. Yeah. It's like, oh, no one wants this.
Yeah, we're sharing.
That would be so annoying. Oh my God, I can't believe they do that.
It can happen. It's happened.
But I guess what? So do they then justify it by saying that? Well, we have March Madness.
Right. Yeah. March Madness and the Big Ten tournament is coming up in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, the Big Ten tournament.
So that's how they'll do it. But yeah, and a special shout out to the star of the Michigan State Spartans basketball team, Cassius Winston. Have you seen this guy play?
Mm-mm.
Oh man,
I like the name though.
He's from Detroit.
Okay.
Went to, I believe it was
U of D.
Jesuit.
What? How did I guess that?
You apparently know him more than you think.
I mean, I don't know how I knew.
Number 5. Where's the number 5? And he has it all, man. He's a dude. I tell you, I'm no basketball expert, but he is.
What's the guy's name?
Cassius Winston, and he is just the way he sees the game, man. He's like a painter, just painting basketball all over the court. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you think of this Duke guy?
Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
He's beast.
Yeah.
Beast. That's big time beast.
I don't pay close attention, but I've only heard he's been the talk of the town.
Oh, of course.
Apparently, there was some talk that LA was trying to change the rules of college, so you don't have to go just so and they were saying it was mostly because of him, and they just wanted to get him.
Could be.
But I don't know if they're able to do that. I'm looking at Cassius right now.
Yeah, the thing with Cassius Winston is he can do it all, man. He's great at assists. Yep. Great at assists. Good 3-point shooter. He
looks like a small dude.
Range game. He's 6 feet.
So he's basketball small.
Yeah. He's 6 feet or 6'1". He's 6'1". I forgot his weight, but yeah, he's a fantastic player. A lot of really, really cool assists to his teammates. What do they say? What's the term? Like tossing dimes?
I've never heard that before.
Really, I think tossing dimes is what they say when you get an assist in basketball.
Okay.
Or giving out dimes or something like that.
Okay. I'm not a basketball fan.
But yeah. Sadly, I didn't get to watch the game, but I kid you not, I am going to rewatch it at some point once I get back and I'm in Chomutov. And you are sadly across the ocean again. Right now, it's prime podcasting time.
I know. This is great.
Here. But anyways, yeah, so big shout out to MSU and to Cassius Winston for being the orchestrator of such an amazing season. MSU was plagued with injuries and had a lot of problems with their bench, who they could play and get in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
But they did it, and Tom Izzo is a fantastic coach. Also, shout out to Michigan. They played great and are a great team. John Beilein is is it John or Jim? John Beilein is a great basketball.
I feel like now you're just purposely getting it wrong.
Maybe, you never know. Anyways,
I look forward to seeing Don in a couple of days and you rubbing it in his face. Although you're not a face rubber, unfortunately.
Not
Although
usually.
You should be, because Don would rub that all in your face.
He probably
if it was
would.
the other way around.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of fun though. It's a part of the rivalry.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, it's fun, and it's a little. A lot of times the Michigan State rivalry is a lot more friendly than the Ohio State rivalries.
Sure.
Michigan, because we're all from the same place at the end of the day, and it's especially funny because it's like these schools are like 40 minutes away from each other.
Right. And I love Ann Arbor.
Huge.
I love East Lansing. It's great.
I'm going to give one more shout out, and this is going to be in conjunction with our song of the pod, but we'll talk about the song of the pod later. But I did like his message, and I did like what he was doing as just his goal to just find a new place and start over. So our song of the pod, we'll get to that later, but it's by a guy named Infidelix. Infidelix. Well, he's American.
Right.
And this is almost kind of going to be like I don't want to talk about the song of the pod, but he moved to Berlin. From Houston. And it seemed like he just wanted to experience the world and start fresh, and was trying to figure out a way to make his own scene and sort of spread his raps to a totally different.
Spread his love, man.
Yeah, to a totally different.
Spread a little love
to a totally different audience, and I really respect that that ability to just get up and go somewhere like that, especially because we've done
cojones.
We've done it in our own ways, but
There's always been a security blanket.
Exactly, we did it with a paycheck and a job waiting, but I think there's really something to that, to just people think it's foolish, but I think that those people that think it's foolish are also scaredy cats.
Yeah,
I'm one of those scaredy cats.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's hard to even imagine what it's like uprooting somewhere completely new, especially a place like Berlin. Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's very overwhelming.
Just come here with here's my suitcase, here's my stuff, here I am. Mm-hmm. But we also don't know. Maybe he had some contacts here.
Yeah,
maybe he had a place to crash.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to hear his full story. But sadly, the video we were watching about him only showed it was like a teaser.
Right.
Right. Trailer for the
should have hit him up. Get him on the pod.
Yeah.
Get him some publicity.
We only got a couple days, but you never know.
We're apparently working miracles here, with a couple days trying to make podcast happen.
That's true.
Okay, so yeah, some shout outs, and so just almost this is more like a tap style playing of the Untranslatable Owl. Just to say, hey, we haven't forgotten about you, Untranslatable Owl. However, one, we've done a Berlin episode before, so we have plenty of untranslatables. Go back to our On the Road Again with Jeff. That was like episode 21.
Yeah,
something
pretty
like that.
early on. Yeah.
Or and the other thing, not or, but the other thing is we haven't stopped moving and like
That's
since
true.
we sat down to do this podcast.
Yeah.
We walked in and
That's
immediately
Berlin
started
for
setting
you.
everything up and immediately started doing this. And then when we're done, we're literally gonna immediately leave.
Hashtag hustle every day.
Yeah, so we have had no time to do any sort of research. But I enjoy this style of podcast because, one, we have plenty to talk about, and we haven't been in front of each other in a long time. And so it's nice to just catch up.
Coming all the way to Europe, but we did it, and here we
What do
are.
you mean make it work?
I mean, I didn't know if we would just be able to make it happen, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was short timing, but I think where there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, definitely.
And it felt like, I don't know, it felt like it needed to happen. For me, personally, maybe more than anything. Like, I just felt like it was time to get out.
Oh, definitely.
Do you want to start this?
Yeah.
I'm already recording, by the way.
Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. Today we have a very, very, very special episode. The time has finally come, and Jared is here in Berlin for the first time. So first of all, herzlich willkommen in Berlin, and so happy to have you here, buddy. It's
Thanks.
great.
Yeah, I guess it's weird doing your old-fashioned intro with me staring at you.
That's true. Not quite the same.
When's it my turn? Chad has required me to speak quietly
That is true.
and in a hushed, controlled tone. But I'll start by saying this. It's good to be here. It's been a long time coming. It's good to look you in the face. You know, we first saw each other. I was pulling up in the taxi, and I looked you in the eye, and we had that, that glimmer. It's like, oh, we did it.
Yeah, we made it.
We're
made
here.
it. Here we are.
My trip, I'll say this, it wasn't that bad. My flight left at 9:30 at night, and I got there a little early. I was a little pissed. But I did get lunch. I did get dinner there. I got ramen, which was great, but it took forever. So it was like I was late anyway because they were so slow. It was great. And then I got on the plane, and then, like, as I mentioned to you earlier, after going to Tanzania, a 7-hour trip doesn't seem that bad.
No, it's not too bad at all.
It was pretty quick, and then quick layover, no big deal, and we're here. And it's been quite a day.
It
Like
has.
I got here what 7 hours ago,
Something like
8
that.
hours
Yeah.
ago, and we haven't stopped moving since.
Nope, because that's Berlin.
And I'll tell you this: Chad and I have been together all day talking nonstop, but I finally feel free. I finally really feel free right now.
Because we can actually talk about everything.
Yeah, I have the fullest use of my vocabulary, which is limited.
I see what you're saying.
But we've had a lot of cool experiences, and I almost feel like, it's nice to speak German with you, and I know you love to speak German, but a little part of it feels like you do it just because, like, it limits how much I can talk,
You think so?
No, I'm just kidding. You got, like, generally concerned. Like, no, buddy.
Well, I guess I'd have a guilty conscience if I made you feel bad for speaking German.
Yeah, well, you have been telling me a lot. Well, if you can't say it, maybe you just shouldn't say it at all.
Sounds exactly like me. You're 100% right.
How do you say this? Well, I don't know.
I don't know. Too bad. Too bad, so sad.
Well, hey, we're reunited, and it feels so good. Let's start with a prost, I'd say.
That's a good call.
So Chad and I stopped at a Späti, and if you listen to our On the Road Again episode, you know that a Späti is what would you say, like a convenience store?
Yeah, late night shop.
Yeah, and they sell a lot of beers. They sell liquids of all sorts and snacks. And Chad and I were looking, and we stumbled upon this one called the Flensburg Pilsner. Highly recommended by you.
Yes, sir.
And you thought you were going to do me a favor by opening these before the episode.
Yep.
And I'm going to show you right now that I know how to open these.
All right, let's see it.
So the thing is, it's one of those old-fashioned sort of like tops where you pop it.
Exactly.
And I'm going to... All right, here we go. I don't
We
need two
didn't
hands.
we didn't think about that. Yeah, I think you can do it.
So
with
here's
one.
the first step. Break the seal. Speaking of break
do you
the
have
seal.
to break the seal?
Probably not. And then I believe what you do is you do a pull this way. You're saying no. Chad,
Go ahead. Just open
Oh.
it how you open it. Go ahead. All right. I usually just push it. Oop. Like that.
Oh man, if I knew the sound was gonna be so good, I would have.
Right. That should be a drop, right?
So this is we I guess this is a good episode to talk about. We have decided to retire the beer of the pods.
Yep.
We have a strict branding that we're sticking to. The corporate overlords were not happy with it.
That's true. Very true.
No, it's just we're trying to skim some of the dead weight off of this show here. However, we're gonna end it with this one. I'd say this seems like a good way to end it.
Oh, definitely.
With the in-person beer of the pod. Do you know anything about this beer?
I know it's tasty, and that's about it.
It's got a lovely ship on it, a schooner. There's some griffins.
Is that really what that's called? A schooner?
A schooner is a kind of ship. I can't tell you if this is actually a schooner.
Okay.
With some.
Man, you had me sold though. You had me sold.
This is a schooner 1000. It looks almost like someone's family crest, and it probably is. And this is a Flensburger Pilsner, and it's herbwürzig and frisch. Und frisch.
So like herbally spiced and fresh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You could tell by the way we popped it.
That's right. Prost.
Prost.
And as Jared mentioned, one of the really great things about Berlin is all of the different Spätis all around the different neighborhoods, or as you will hear them, Kiez.
Mm-hmm.
Tends to be the word that you'll hear around here in Berlin, and yeah, it's fantastic. There's a lot of really good selection of different stuff, and
do you think the selection is better here than in Czech Republic
for beer?
Mm-hmm.
I think in bars in Berlin, maybe yes, because I'm not really sure why, to be honest. Maybe just because there might be, I don't know if the number of tourists is higher in Berlin. I would assume probably Berlin than Prague, but I could be wrong. There are a lot of tourists that go to Prague.
Right.
It's very popular.
Right. But there does seem to be more variety here. I mean, I haven't been to...
But it's mostly German beers than Corona,
right,
which is interesting. Like, it's all kind of this... It's similar variety.
A lot of Beck's, which is a German beer, but
right.
It's nothing special.
Right.
So this is a very special episode of the Untranslatable Podcast. We're here to talk to you guys about...
Berlin Bei Nacht.
Oh, yes. How did we forget that? We buried the lead. This is Berlin Bei Nacht. So you and I, we had a goal today that we're going to go experience the town, and we're not going to get too crazy. I just got here. But we wanted to experience Berlin Bei Nacht. And I'd say we did a good job.
Oh, absolutely.
So can I start by giving some just quick observations now that I'm back here?
Absolutely.
One, it's very comforting. I'd mentioned earlier that it's rough having to fully talk in German. It's not rough, but like I'm still new. So it's like work.
It's not fresh yet.
But it's so comforting to hear it just everywhere in the background. That's very nice. Another thing we've joked about since I've been here, the sirens always make me laugh.
Yeah, yep, that's true.
And
it's a completely different sound than in the States.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do it. And then another thing is it's so quick. It's so funny how quickly I see Americans and I'm just like, amateurs.
Right.
What club are we going to go to?
We saw a lot of those tonight.
Which makes sense, though. I mean, this is a very touristy place to be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
so
Berlin,
it's not surprising.
A lot of tourists. Just wait till we go to Berlin Mitte. You haven't even seen it.
That's true. Then it's all tourists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I almost like a tourist. I mean, we always joke that you're the tourist of the pod. Yeah. But like a tourist, I almost booked a hostel in the Mitte.
Right. I had to advise Jared against that. Mm-hmm. I'm very glad I did because this has been a great hostel. And I guess a shout out to Backpacks Fabrik. Fabrik, for those non-German speakers, means factory.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's some history and reason why they call it
false
Fabrik.
Friend.
Oh, fabric. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
I'd say that's a false friend.
Yeah.
Okay, so some other observations. Another thing I forgot about is that you can just walk around with beer. That's very freeing.
Yep.
The first one we did, I felt like a degenerate.
Jared was like looking around. It was really funny. It's like, wait, we can really... Yeah.
I really felt like a degenerate. And, it's so funny, us as Americans, our concept of what freedom is.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would get, I would get, maybe not you, I would get shot for drinking a beer in the street, and it's just so freeing. I love that. Other observations. Let me try to think. I got to think a little bit. Well, I've been here for, as I said, like 8 hours at this point, and I've already hit 2 of my 3 German food staples.
That's true.
Start with the
Schnitzel's
currywurst,
always mm-hmm.
then the doner kebab, and now we need the schnitzel.
Yep.
And you know that's the great thing about doner kebabs as well, and currywurst really, and the French fries too.
French fries are always bomb here.
Is that even though there are definitely places that are better than others, it's hard to find like a real bad doner or a real bad currywurst. It seems like they got it down. It's like you can't really mess
definitely.
this up. If you're messing it up, I'm calling some sort of health inspection bureau because you guys are illegal.
Right. No kidding. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think that's all I have for observations. So, could you explain where we went today? What we saw? Some of the places we hit.
Absolutely. So we are currently located in Kreuzberg, is where we're staying, and we went a little bit around Kreuzberg. Also went into Neukölln, which are both really cool neighborhoods. And the nice thing about Berlin is the neighborhoods all have a different kind of vibe. Give us a few more days until we can really comment on the vibe, because
I have a comment on the vibe.
Okay.
It's more of a comment that you've been making. You've mentioned a lot, Berlin ist so verrückt. That's been a recurring statement of you over the past couple hours.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, so for our non-German listeners out there, verrückt means crazy, and I've been saying Berlin is crazy, and I mean that in all sorts of good ways. You know, Berlin is a place you can go, and you'll see, you know, an old German Omo walking down the street, and then like a punk rock guy with like all sorts of piercings and like a mohawk this high, and all these crazy things, and you can see it, and it's what's cool about Berlin is you see them walking down the street, and it's like normal. You know, the Oma's not looking at the punk guy.
Oh,
like
my stars and stripes.
Right, exactly. And I think Berlin is also very tolerant about people being able to do what they want for the most part. You know, I mean, there's all these really interesting clubs. We talked about the Kit Kat Club, for example.
Yes. Do you want to explain the Kit Kat Club?
You can explain that one.
The Kit Kat Club, well, it seems like it's a very kink-friendly place. Sex club? Is that just what it is? Is that what it is?
I mean, I think you can also dance there.
It's just a club, but then there's also, it's a very free club.
Yeah. Like, we read online, we haven't been there. I don't think we'll be going, but we read online that the Kit Kat Club, you have to like basically leave your clothes at the coat check.
Yeah.
So, and
now
I would assume it's true, but we can't always assume all things we read on the internet are true. Plus all the meme news that's out there.
But you know someone that is a member of the Kit Kat Club.
Yeah. I've talked to a couple different Berliners who have been there.
Before I go to the Kit Kat Club, not that we're gonna go, but if we were to go, I'd have some questions. One, when's the last time this floor was cleaned?
Important
2,
question.
What's the sort of general temperature that you keep this place at? It's very important if I'm taking off all my clothes.
Sure.
Any sort of swimming pools or anything like that?
Some of them do have swimming pools.
Okay, because you got to be careful with that as far as, you know, it can cause some shrinkage. This is the PSA for all the people out there.
Right, exactly. In case you didn't know.
Swimming pools cause shrinkage. Yeah, okay, so that's why that's a part, that reminds me of another observation. Speaking of kind of crazy, the graffiti.
Oh, that's true.
It's everywhere.
It's awesome, though, isn't it?
It is awesome, and I love it. And I think it's a great aspect of the city. And what I was trying to explain to you in German, but now that we're speaking English, I can just say it, is that I like it, you know, and I can understand why people hate graffiti. But there's almost so much of it that it's like it adds to the city, and that it becomes art rather than vandalism when it's covering the entire city.
It kind of reminds me almost of like if you get like a big tattoo. You know, if you just have one tattoo,
kind of sticks out more.
Yeah, but if you have like a sleeve,
to
me like a sleeve or a 3/4 sleeve, it looks like art. You know, it's really cool to see the different colors and everything. I think it's the same with the graffiti in Berlin.
I'd be curious to know what some of the residents think of it, because clearly there's no sort of plan or goal to like get rid of it.
Right. Well, one, it'd probably be too expensive.
I mean, at this point, you've waited this long.
Right. And I don't know what the legality is on graffiti in Berlin either. So it's hard to say. But if the laws aren't very stringent on it, then why not?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're an artist. I mean,
it's not all art though. Some of it's just like
sure,
random words and stuff and scribbles.
I mean, can't have masterpieces of graffiti everywhere.
Well, and hey, who am I to say what's art? Also,
That's also true. Good point.
some people might be like, "How dare you?
Right.
This took me months.
It's all
This one
art.
line."
Right.
Um,
And the placing of some of the graffiti is really fascinating to see.
yes,
And I don't know how they do it.
parks
Right.
weirdly high up on buildings, like on the third floor. It's like, how'd you get there?
Higher than that, even.
I'd believe it. Yeah. And that's another thing, another observation, another thing I love about the city so far. Keep in mind, I've only been here for a couple hours, and it's been most 85% of that has been in the dark.
Yep.
It was getting dark as I got here, and so like I haven't even really seen it. But like, as I've mentioned a lot, you've mentioned that this place is crazy. What's the word I've been using a lot to explain Berlin? And I try to explain what I like about it. Chad doesn't pay attention to anything I
No.
say.
In one ear, out the other.
Wow.
In one ear, not
I'm
the other.
legitimately kind of offended because when I say it, you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, of course." I think I remember you saying that at some
okay.
point.
Were you saying in English or in German?
It works. It works in both languages. It's the same.
All right, what is it?
The aesthetic.
Oh, God, you're right. Yeah. The aesthetic. You're right. We were just talking about it as well with the graffiti.
Yeah, that's part of the aesthetic. But there's
Yeah.
also like this. I don't want
I
to.
like the parks and the canals
Yes.
and the rivers. We went over the Spree earlier on the U-Bahn.
There are also a lot of parks.
Yeah.
Like a lot of parks.
There's a lot of green and there's a lot of water in Berlin, which is
Yeah.
great.
That's a cool thing about like a giant city too, is that they still preserve that. But that's like a European thing. Like,
Right. We might have to hit up the Victoria waterfalls. That's where Jeff and I went.
I would like to see that. Yeah,
It's
That'd
beautiful.
Be cool. That'd be cool.
You can walk all the way up and get a really good view.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing, people. We have kind of planned this trip as in not planning anything besides where we're going. We know we're in Berlin these days.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll be in Prague. And then you'll fly home and I'll be crying all the time. But that's like.
And I'll be passed out on the airplane, like, "Oh my god, I need water."
Right.
I
don't need it.
So far, so good though.
Right.
I mean, today we kept ourselves pretty busy, and it helps too that we're walkers.
Mhm.
So we're happy to just wander, and we did a good bit of wandering. I think even though I've only experienced this town in the dark, I've got a good lay of the land.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kind of know where things are, and I know our area.
You might need to tell our listeners out there about Maps Off.
Well, that's
Although I did cheat later on when we went to meet up with a friend
That's
of
true.
mine. But
well. Chad and I are here, and I was telling him how. Well, look forward to that in the coming future, I guess. But Don and I start when we travel. We like to go maps off, so no maps, just wander. You can't really get lost. You know, no one can get lost in 2019.
right.
And it's so freeing, and it's nice to not have a constant plan, which is why we travel so great together. So we
Right.
did that, and we literally just figured out like a circle of our little area, Kreuzberg, which is where we're staying. Hit us up.
That's
I'm
right.
gone by the time you hear this.
That's true. Hit us up anyways, though.
That's true. Untranslatable podcast at gmail.com. Oh, also, spread a little love, some 5-star reviews
That's right.
on iTunes
Definitely.
and Stitcher. So yeah, we're doing Berlin Bei Nacht, which is German for Berlin at night. And so we did the wandering. Another observation, as part of the Berlin Bei Nacht series. A lot of peeing outside.
Yep.
Whole lot of peeing outside. I peed outside more today than I have in probably the past year or two. And I went camping twice.
And and the funny thing is, there's a lot of other people you see at the
Yeah.
U-Bahn, and hey, you gotta go and you gotta go. You know.
I guess I kind of feel like a degenerate, you know?
Yeah.
How is it that I get away with not peeing outside so much in America?
Well, do you try to pee outside in America? Probably not.
I mean, no, why would I? I'm a civilized American.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's just a lot of peeing outside. Yeah, that's it. That's something else I remembered. A lot of peeing outside.
Okay.
I don't know if you're a nervous peer or if you just are a nervous person.
Yeah, you think I'm a nervous person?
It's just so funny watching you try to like find a spot because you're like, no, not here. No,
Yeah.
no, not here. Not here.
Gotta be careful.
That's fair. Okay, Berlin by Nacht. So we walked around. We walked through Görlitz Park, although I didn't really see much. It was dark.
Right.
But cool looking park. There's a weird thing in the middle where it looks like someone could fall in, but that's okay.
Yeah, I didn't get what that was.
Maybe some sort of like a canal for water, but still,
Makes
can't you put that in a better spot?
Yeah, who knows?
Let me say this too. You're a great tour guide.
Thank you.
I've never
Appreciate
been, I've been around you when you've been tour guiding other people, like in
Really?
Vienna. In
Okay.
Vienna,
Yeah,
a couple of people I've visited and I've hung around.
Yeah.
But I've never been the recipient of a tour guide. You are so good. You're
5
good.
stars?
Well, I've only been here for a couple hours. We'll see.
fair enough. All right.
You're,
I'll
you're,
accept 4.5.
you're good at giving out options. You always have ideas running in your head of places to be.
Here's the thing, man. I feel like a lot of times I'm an idea guy, whereas I think you are much better at like the analyzing and the, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Or am I
It
just
makes
crazy?
sense for sure, but I think maybe I just never thought about that for myself. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But I guess I know. Wait, so like you're the ideas guy, and what? Like I'm the execution person.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that dynamic.
Yeah. I think we make it work.
Yeah, I mean, you have like endless ideas. You're like, well, we could go here. We go to this place.
Yes. But that's the beauty of Berlin as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Berlin is an easy city to be a tour guide for.
That's another good thing about Chad as a tour guide. Chad can talk to anyone.
That's true.
We went to
try.
a cool little bar that was looked like it was owned by everyone's Oma.
Yep.
And the people, I guess the people thought they recognized me or something, but I wasn't.
Jared's a celebrity already here
Yeah.
in Berlin.
Signed a couple untranslatable T-shirts,
That's right.
and they made it themselves. We don't sell those. Although I did get I did contact my lawyer and said, "Hey, cut this shit out."
That's right. That's right.
Or get us a check. I wasn't the guy, but then a conversation was struck up, and they're like, "How do you speak such good German?" By the way, I hadn't said anything at this point. This is all chat. And he's like, "Oh, what can I say? I'm a gangster." And then
Exactly.
you struck up a conversation with the
bartender.
A bartender,
Bartender? Yeah.
and you started by asking her, and this has been something that I've noticed. I'm not gonna say obsessed. That's a little ridiculous, but you've commented on before is the use of du versus sie, and so that's you, du and sie are both you in German.
But formal and informal.
Correct. And usually the informal is used with people your age. It seems like regardless of situation, and then if anyone that's older than you, your parents, grandparents, whatever, just people that seem older than you, you go sie. That's why I always say sie for Chad.
Exactly.
But
because I'm a year older than you, aren't I? Mm-hmm. So there you go.
almost a full year.
That's right.
Because October '91. Yeah, I'm September '92.
Yep.
So you asked her that, and she said, "Well, if it's someone your age, then you can just go ahead and be free with the Z."
There you go. Parada. Be free with the Z. Exactly right.
And if it's someone that's your age, do it up, and do the do, as she said.
Exactly.
And I was honestly impressed at how well you were at just carrying the conversation, because I don't even remember where it went from there, but you were very good at just continuing it on, and she seemed both engaged and
a couple laughs and a smile out of it.
yeah. You're a sweet talker. You were very good at getting out at the end, like, hey, what's your schedule like?
Right.
And I was like, oh shit.
I was trying to see if we could visit again at the bar. She was nice.
No, I noticed that. I was just that's a big problem for me. Is ABC always be closing, and this is not just some sort of listen. This is not some sort of frat boy podcast. We're not talking about getting biddies. We're not talking about hooking up. I'm talking about always be closing with humans. I'm terrible at hey,
we have talked about that.
Yeah,
That's
let's make this happen. Let's finish this. Let's get together again sometime.
Right.
I'm always just like, all right, bye bye.
Right. And he's gone.
Wow, where did he go? I just sneezed and he was gone. And so I respect that, and I almost feel like I love just watching you work. As sort of an introvert myself, I don't even mind like just sitting back and watching it happen.
Now I feel a little guilty though. I didn't involve you more in the conversation.
Did you just hear what I said? I don't want to be involved.
You just like observing. It seems like
It's just so much pressure too because my German's not that good.
Your German's pretty good.
You talk like you. Are you kidding me?
Your German's pretty good.
I mean, it's pretty good if you're just like if I'm someone that's just traveling to order. Like if I was doing your standard ordering stuff and going places. But as far as holding a conversation like you do, I don't think I'm up to snuff there yet.
You'll get there. You can't get there unless you work at it, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
There's no other way to do it.
So you sweet talk that young lady, and then so Chad mentioned it, and I also mentioned that I hate it when you say this, but listen, I got to give the man props where they're due.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
So you had mentioned that before I got here, you were doing some scouting for me of the city, and gosh darn it, did you not scout? Tell us about Mateos. I don't even know where to begin, so I'm just going to go right to it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, big shout out to Mateos. Super hospitable guy, really friendly, very, very, very intelligent, and just all around fun to talk to. Mm-hmm. And the way it happened was I stayed at an Airbnb, actually in Neukölln. And I stayed there on purpose because I had never really been to Neukölln. Also, it was only, I think, like $30 for one night. So price-wise, it was also pretty good. And so I met Matthias there with his girlfriend. And, yeah, we just hit it off, had a wonderful conversation. And because I speak German...
Who struck up the conversation?
Matthias. I mean, okay. he asked me where I was from. And at first, dude, I felt kind of bad because they were, in the kitchen. I thought they were kind of doing their own thing, talking.
So the Airbnb is their place?
Yeah. And there's just a free room.
They run it?
Somebody else does.
Oh, okay. He loves to entertain. So Chad and I went over. Chad met this guy. You met this guy yesterday, or
yep.
In the middle. Yesterday, this morning, whatever. And he had us over to his house again. And he loves to talk. He's got fun facts out the wazoo. And speaking of fun facts, here at the Untranslatable podcast, it's not all meme news and it's not all garbage coming out of our mouths. I'm spitting some real truth every now and again. And it turns out that I was right regarding. So I mentioned a long time ago, Untranslatable was beating the devil is beating his wife, which means that it's raining when the sun is out. And Matthias, excuse me, is half German, half Hungarian. And so he speaks Hungarian, and so I had to run it by him, and he didn't even realize it until I asked him. He's like, "Wait a second."
Yeah.
And still, there's no answer on what that connection is. I'm still very curious about that, but I was right. The Hungarians also say the devil is beating his wife, which means it's raining and it's sunny out.
Right.
And what other kind of fun facts did he have? He talked about
all sorts. That was why it was so great to talk to him.
Another interesting thing that he talked about was the difference between, say, Germany and France, and how France is way more protective of their culture.
And language.
Yeah. And how, because also there were some of his girlfriend's friends from Switzerland who were French speakers.
Yep.
And so he was talking about how they're way more protective of their culture and language, and how the Germans, which, things like downloading or Googled or things like that, they're way more accepting.
Computer.
Yeah, computer. The French still say l'ordinateur.
For computer, yeah.
And and I guess I never thought about that. English, we're spoiled because...
Yeah, that wouldn't work with English because we have so many different...
We don't really have the ability to... I mean, we take words from other languages, but...
I mean, bro, look at even the way slang has evolved.
How so?
In English. I don't think there would be like a way...
Cojones?
Well, that comes from Spanish.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many different words. And even nowadays, like, words like lit, like slang terms, like how... I just don't think you could do it the same way that the French do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I see what you're saying. So I guess it's a blessing and a curse of the English language is we don't have the ability to adopt other languages' slang as easily.
Right. Well, depends.
It's not even slang. Hold on, sorry, my glasses are killing me.
No worries.
It's not even slang though. Because it's you're adopting like the words. So it's not even because like download. That's not slang. That's just a word.
Right.
So they're adopting their actual language.
Right.
And so yeah, we have the ability to adopt slang. Cojones. Americans say that probably don't even realize that they're speaking Spanish.
Right.
But that's not gonna happen. That's not really happening with like full words, is it? I mean, I'm just putting you on the spot.
Maybe not.
So Matthias, let's get back to him. What else are we gonna say about? Oh, he likes to play tour guide, also, much like Chad.
Yep.
And I wrote down some recommendations.
Maybe that's why we clicked so well. But yeah, I mean, the other thing is he knows his history, he knows his languages. Yeah, it's just fun to talk to him, and I think that's the cool thing when you go to a city like Berlin. There's just so many interesting people you can meet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think Berlin is like a whole nother world than anywhere in Germany, anywhere in the world. Berlin is Berlin. There's nothing on the planet quite like it.
As someone that spent a lot of time in Dusseldorf, it definitely seems like a completely different country as far as the culture goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least it seems like everyone in Dusseldorf was way more proper, and I don't know if I don't think that's a quote unquote Dusseldorf thing. Mm-hmm. I think that's just a German thing, but I think it's Berlin that's the one that's the outlier, and it is very interesting, and almost not that we've really had any interactions with people like this, but it does seem like a way more. I guess you have, like a way more friendlier, like a way friendlier city.
Yeah, I would say people for the most part are pretty open, very tolerant of people's race, religion, sexual orientation. And that's the cool thing about Berlin. Like I've heard from a lot of people, when I was scoping out different places to go and things to do, like the number one thing I read from a lot of people that were either had moved to Berlin or were Berliners, they said, when you come to Berlin, just be yourself. It doesn't matter. You can just be you here, whatever and however that may be.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of cool styles, a lot of cool clothes.
Definitely. We might hit up a thrift shop. I think that would be a lot of fun.
No, we definitely are going to hit up the thrift shop. I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's not too far from here.
Can I give you some other ideas for places we can hit up?
Absolutely.
These are courtesy of Matthias. Mm-hmm. The first one is Treptow Park.
Yep.
What's at Treptow Park?
They have the really big Soviet monument there.
Oh yes. We did talk a little bit about Sozialismus and Sozialismuskunst.
That's right. Can you tell our listeners what that is?
Well, I can't really explain what it is, but I do know it was just like
socialist art.
Even more than it being like specific. I mean, it is a specific style of art, but it seems like it kind of sums up like an era in German history.
Definitely.
And it's less like a obviously it's, as I said, it's a kind of art, but it's a way broader than that of a because when I first heard that term in the Never Look Away movie that I reviewed a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was just used as like an insult. Well, it was used as an insult because they were in Dusseldorf and they were like, "Oh, we're the new trendy art, and you're just painting stuff on an easel."
Right.
And so I always just thought it was some sort of insult. I didn't realize that it was like a culture more than like it was.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
You knew a lot of you're familiar with
not a lot about Sozialismuskunst, but I've heard the term before, and I've definitely seen plenty of examples.
That's another thing about Matthias is he'll make you feel dumb.
You think so?
Excuse me. Here's another thing about Matthias. He'll make me feel dumb. It just reminds me of how little I know. But in my defense, I'm 35 years younger than him. I'm sorry. I just had to put a little. I just had to put a solo burn for no reason.
Oh, jeez. I'm never going to get invited back to his place.
Another place we could go, thank you, courtesy of Matthias, one of our friends, is Karl Marx Strasse.
Karl Marx Allee.
Oh, I wrote Strasse. Allee.
We already were on Karl Marx Strasse today.
Oh, those are two separate streets?
Yeah, it's two separate things, yeah.
He explained Karl Marx Allee as like a Champs-Élysées. Was that the street he was talking about?
It was the Champs-Élysées
of Berlin?
Of the East.
Of the East?
East Berlin.
Okay, because you could say of Berlin, though, couldn't you? Or is there like one of West Berlin?
I don't know. That's a good question.
The Champs-Élysées is a big shopping street in Paris.
Oh, Kurfürstendamm in the west.
Okay.
That's the
I mean, I
Kudamm.
don't. Yeah, I know the stop.
Yeah.
I don't know the street that well to
Oh,
to claim that.
when we hit Mitte, you can't miss it. We will be going there. Well,
Okay.
let me also give a couple of my tourist tips while you read through Matthias's, because I mean Matthias, they're very good, but he definitely has a different outlook on Berlin. I think he'll give you a really cool and kind of authentic type of tips, right? Whereas mine are more your traditional touristy things. We took the test. I'm the tourist, so I'm gonna give you the touristy
Yeah, but
places, like Brandenburger Tor. You know, we have to see the Bundestag or the Parliament building.
I would like to see the East Side Gallery in daylight.
Yep, we can do that tomorrow, no problem.
Yeah, that's right across.
We're walking distance away, which is great.
But those are the things that he recommends. Well, I guess some of them we could figure out, but it seems like you have to know the city to know it. Like you can't just Google it and find these things.
He really knows his stuff.
Yeah, he seems to really enjoy this, and he seems like he gets around the city. Like he was talking about how he was in some other Keats.
This time.
Yeah, is that not close to here? He was talking like he went on a journey.
I don't think it's that far. I mean, with the public transit,
that's true.
It's quick. I mean, the nice thing is I think most things in Berlin, unless you're really going from one side to another, most places you can reach within 30 to 40 minutes. Which is, excuse me, which isn't bad. I would say 30, 40 minutes if you...
Yeah, no, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I got one more place. Donau 115.
Yeah.
Which is German for Donau.
Danube.
Oh, that's right. Danube 115.
And it's like a jazz club.
Oh, that was the jazz club.
That's the jazz club. Yeah. We'll have to check that out for sure.
Now, we've been having some discussions.
Oh, that's true. Yes, we have.
About whether or not we're going to go to a club. What do you think? I think... Well, I'll start with what I think.
Okay, go for it.
I hate clubs. I hate bumping into people. I hate loud music blasting so loud that I can't talk. I hate feeling like a loser, which I often do at clubs. But I feel like it's foolish to go to Berlin and not experience a club, at least one. And I also am so afraid to wait in line and think just to get rejected.
Yeah? It happens here.
I don't take rejection well.
Right. It won't happen in Prague. I can tell you that much. But I think we might as well try it. I'm not sure where, but we'll think about it and we'll have to see.
Okay. Have you been to any? Have you had any enjoyable club experiences in Berlin?
Years and years ago, in 2015, I went to Matrix, but I think Matrix has changed a lot since I went there because it seems like it's a lot more younger people. When I say younger, I mean like 16, 17, 18. Uh-oh, here we go. And now I'm going to do it. But yeah, 16, 17, 18. And yeah, it's just not quite the same, but there's a lot of tourists there as well. I mean, the cool thing about Berlin is, and one of the reasons why I keep saying it's so crazy, is on the weekends, a lot of places, there are clubs that are open from like Thursday night or Friday night all the way straight through until Monday morning. Which, like, a lot of Berliners, I think they don't... See what you did? A lot of Berliners don't go out and party like late at night like the tourists do, or they'll go way later, which I think is kind of cool. You know, like, you know, you're a tourist when...
Yeah, but what's the practicality to partying at that time? This throws off your whole schedule. Don't these people have jobs on Monday?
Well, I'm sure on Sunday nights I don't know what they do.
I just don't understand the logic to that timing.
Well, I would assume a lot of them, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if they go to work on, I would assume they party on Friday or Saturday.
But the places, I mean, these places.
Well, here's the thing, dude, because they're open all the way straight until Monday. If you're a Berliner that has to work on Monday, you can still go to the club at noon or 2 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Party for 4 or 5 hours. It's 7 or 8. Go home and sleep, and you go to work.
Sounds like a terrible plan.
Sounds like a great plan, in my opinion.
Yana like us.
Right.
In bowling
That's another
shirts.
thing, though, that we talked about, and that I've done some research on, is that if you want to get into a club in Berlin, a lot of times it helps if you're a tourist, especially an American, and you might be loud. Don't talk too much in line. Don't be too loud. I don't know. There's all sorts of
You
stuff.
can't even talk to each other, like your friends, in this long ass line that you might not even.
It depends on the line. Like I read somewhere that
Are they allowed to smoke cigarettes? They just sit there and smoke cigarettes in silence.
in silence. That's all you can do is smoke cigarettes. That's the rule.
I need to start smoking cigarettes.
But I don't know. It's just crazy. Like I've read all sorts of, and who knows how true it is. But I would assume. I mean, a lot of these people, it seems like they were tourists traveling to Berlin, and this is what they were told either by Berliners or found it online. Like I read about Berghain, which is probably the most famous club in Berlin by far. You want to wear darker clothing. This is not from my experience, just what I've read, more I've heard. You want to wear darker clothing. They don't let a ton of foreigners in.
A lot of these clubs don't seem to want foreigners or tourists.
Right. Which in a way I kind of understand. Tourists kind of sometimes go a little too crazy.
Do you think? Oh, you think it's like just because they don't know what they're doing?
Could be.
Huh? I mean, they would know better than me.
Right.
They probably see it all the time.
Right. I mean, my experience in Prague, I see all sorts of stag parties, and most of them are like British, and they go wild, completely wild. And I mean, not that it's bad to have a good time, but like, I think sometimes when you're a tourist, you overdo it a little bit.
Right.
You know, because you're on vacation, you're there to have fun, you're there to party.
And I'm sure places don't want to get the reputation as like the tourist club
place.
or like tourist bar.
Right.
It's not a good look.
Right.
Because then, because then it ruins the vibe that you're trying to put there. Because it's just like a bunch of people like, oh, what's this place? And it's like you can always tell in a place that's like too touristy, because it seems like there's either a lot of shenanigans going on or a lot of like hanging around. You know.
Right. Sometimes I like the touristy places. Occasionally, like there's a place in Vienna called the Travel Shack. Did you ever go there?
No, you mentioned that to me.
Love the Travel Shack. It's owned, I'm pretty sure, by some Aussies, and it's always a good time. Like the group there, like people are always pretty friendly, seem very open minded, very fun to talk with. Mm-hmm. And so I think depending on where you are, tourist places can be good, sometimes not so good.
Was in Prague last time you were there? You went to some tourist places?
No. This was in Austria, in Vienna.
No, but I remember you talking to me about when you were in Prague last time. You went to like where there's some British people there.
I went to. You don't remember the name of the street?
Some honky tonk place or something.
James Dean Bar.
James Dean Bar.
Right. Yeah. Lots of tourists. That's on Dlouhá Street. Which like Dlouhá is Czech for long, and so it was like it's basically the biggest tourist party street. There's a bunch of bars right next to each other, and that's really fun just to do some people watching.
Yeah, I bet you there's some good places to do people watching here too.
Oh, absolutely, everywhere.
Yeah, I guess just walk around.
Everywhere, yeah.
I really do like the scene here. I could see myself living here.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
And I've been here for hours, and I'm making this declaration.
Right. Well. You're actually, fun fact, everybody, Jared's actually not going to leave Berlin now.
Nope.
You're not even going to go to Prague. You're just going to say,
I've seen all I need to see.
Exactly.
I'm just permanently renting a room at the Backpacks Kreuzberg. Oh, speaking of Backpacks Kreuzberg, this is the hostel we're staying at.
It's fantastic.
It is fantastic, although the showers. I like to think it's.
Yep. You're not used to that hostel life, though, man.
I'm no prude. I'll walk around in my underwear at the Kit Kat Club, but it's just not. It's the convenience of not having to of being able to step out of your shower and then just continue. Like you're not having to be like, all right, now I gotta put stuff on, then go over and make sure people don't see my.
I mean, you could just wrap a towel around it and walk back to the room.
That's true.
Just saying.
Do you think they get mad if I just went naked?
Maybe. I don't know.
Just let the air dry me off.
You're gonna get us kicked out of the hostel.
I'll do it Tuesday morning when we're already checking out.
Go. Problem solved.
Is there any other Berlin by Nacht things that have really been on your mind or anything? I'm trying to think of some other things.
I mean, just a recap. You have to visit the Spätis.
Yes.
Either for beer, for water, for a little snack, for whatever. I don't know. Look, check out the waterways. Even at night, they're really beautiful. The rivers, the canals. What else?
Berlin is huge.
Oh, it's gigantic.
It's interesting the dichotomy of, not party areas, but like hopping areas, and then we walk down some like
Very
full on
residential.
silent residential streets.
Right. Which is really nice. I mean, the thing about Berlin, Bei Nacht oder Bei Tag, or at daytime, it's very different. You can find everything here.
Yeah.
You can find those quiet residential areas. You can find the streets with all the bars and crazy, restaurants and all sorts of different stuff. I think Berlin is a good place to have fun. Like, I think that's why a lot of people like to come here.
I've had fun so far.
Right. We both have.
And
Probably
that's
too much fun.
That's another reason why I could see myself living here, because it's got everything one could want.
There's
I
almost
feel like.
too much to do. Like, it's hard to decide.
For sure. I mean, there's definitely too much to do if you're talking about the entire city of Berlin.
Right.
I'm making noise, and not just. I mean, but seems like there's plenty to do just in Kreuzberg alone.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing, though, too, is when you come to Berlin, stay at a hostel, stay at an Airbnb, do some couch surfing. That way you can meet people.
Yes.
We haven't really met a ton of people at our hostel, but we've also been gone for most of the day. Not really spending a lot of time at the hostel, which makes a big difference. If and plus, I don't think the bar was open today.
They have a bar here.
Yeah, did you not see it downstairs right when you walk in? I think that's the bar.
Oh,
it didn't look open.
Yeah.
So maybe if they open the bar tomorrow, we'll see.
I need to get like some clips of you small talking, just for so I can not even for the gram, just so I can use it for practice.
You'll just have to sneak them.
I don't know how you do it. I can't do it.
I don't know. Pretend you're taking selfies for a couple minutes. I don't know.
No, I mean I don't know how to do the conversation, not the not
the
sneak
conversation,
pictures.
dude. It's easy. Here, let's do a little Berlin by Nacht, little making friends in Berlin small talk conversation example. So, I mean, the easiest question to ask.
Kommen Sie aus Berlin? Is that what you're going to say?
Or if they're your age, what would you say?
Oh, see, I'm too formal.
That's right.
Kommst du aus Berlin?
Exactly. And then they'll say ja or nein.
Mm-hmm. And then they'll ask me where I come from.
Right.
Hopefully.
But depending, right. I mean, a conversation is usually give and take, so you hope they would ask you.
Ask me where I come from.
Right. But the other thing
I have nothing else.
I mean, no matter what they say, there's always tons of questions you can ask. And like I've mentioned on the podcast before, I think a big thing about having any good conversation with someone is you have to be genuinely interested.
Yeah.
You mentioned how I don't pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Because you're not genuinely interested.
Right, exactly.
I get it.
But you know what I mean? Like if you show that you're interested and you're paying attention, I think people definitely can feel that and they
respond to that.
Right. Like the bartender earlier.
She seemed to respond to that.
Right, and I was really listening to her. And I was genuinely interested because I was curious about the Du und Sie. I wanted to get her opinion on it, and I've heard it a lot around here. It didn't just come out of thin air. I've heard so many people use Du with people that I usually would use Sie with, which is why I ask. Because I don't want to be rude, but I also don't want to be so formal that it's like I don't even know how to describe.
No, you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to come off like some robot or something.
Right, exactly.
No, I get that.
And Berlin's a chill city.
Yeah, you don't want to come off like a cop.
Right, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, the big thing is be interested, ask questions, and I like to try to find some type of common ground. So I ask about music because, as our listeners know, we love music here at the Untranslatable Podcast. I like to ask about all sorts of different stuff. Find out what they're interested in. And the other thing that I sometimes do, and I don't know if this is weird to say, but I really like going into a conversation thinking, what can I learn from this person? From Matthias, we learned a lot. We learned some Hungarian words. We learned some cool new German words. We learned that the devil being his wife works in, Southern American English and also Hungarian, which is pretty cool. And and that's the thing. It really was delightful seeing seeing his reaction when you asked about that phrase.
Yeah.
And it's when you get those reactions like that.
Yeah, because at first he was like, what are you talking about? Then he was like, oh, wait a second.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of when you're starting to like unlock the door and open it up to that really like, kind of breaking the floodgates of having an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Because I think a conversation a lot of times can be what you make it. It can be boring, regular small talk, or it can be really interesting stuff that people care about, And so there's my, in a nutshell.
Well, that's good advice.
Conversation starters.
That's good advice. I think I struggle to show interest. And I feel like a lot of small talk topics I think are just to have something to say.
Yeah, it's fluff. But that's why you got to dig deeper. And I think you can use the basic questions to dig deeper.
Yeah.
But it just depends on how you're viewing it. And I think the cool thing about Berlin is you can take Berlin at face value with all the crazy graffiti and the alternative people with, different colored hair and,
big holes in their ears.
Right, and tattoos and all sorts of stuff. Or you can look at it as, I look at a lot of the people that live in Berlin as kind of, they're kind of artsy, or they're kind of interesting, or they're, you know what I mean? Like you could look at, for a lot of people, sadly, I think older generations would see these people and think, oh, these people are crazy, they're nuts, they're freaks, whatever. I think it's like, all right, they're probably super cool, is in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, maybe there's some cool story but behind the crazy tattoos they have, or, it's just different.
One more thing that bothers me about this is just maybe more of a European thing, or I don't know. I don't know. But there is something that's kind of annoying to me, that it seems like it's just assumed, or it's the case that every African/black person is a drug dealer.
Yeah.
It's annoying, but I've also had plenty of them be like, "Hey, you need anything?"
Right.
As we're just walking down the street.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, no,
I mean, you remember though, when we were in Austria, when we had our orientation, the director of our program even said that.
Yeah.
And he said,
it sounded very blunt at the time, but
but it's true.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It's completely true. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know though, man. I mean, there's stereotypes, sadly, for all sorts of different people too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and it's different too, because I think, in the States, it's just a different here. I mean, I think most people here are from Africa, either immigrated from Africa, their parents are from Africa. Whereas, in the States, most black people have been there for generations, not all of them, but
right.
A lot of
them.
That
like the most of them have been. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's a different circumstances.
Right. Exactly.
And it's just, I'm putting my own sort of cultural views on it.
Sure.
And it's like,
I think that's normal.
And if that were the case in the U.S., it would, or if people had that sort of stereotype in the U.S., it would probably be a little bit more problematic than it seems to be here.
Right. Yeah. Without a doubt.
I also saw children today buying drugs. That was a weird sight. Remember that?
Yeah, they looked
like they were like 15.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm sure there are 15-years in America doing the same.
Oh, I'm sure.
The only difference is
I just want to be like, come on.
Right. You just
what are you doing with your life, kid?
Street, right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, that's the thing about big city living. Is I think when you live out in the country, I grew up kind of out in the country. Kids still do that stuff, but it's not as I don't think it's as readily available. I could be wrong, but I think because we're in such a big city.
Yeah.
I mean, in Berlin, you can find everything you want, everything you need, regardless. It could be restaurants, it could be clubs, bars, or nefarious things.
Yeah, nefarious things, exactly.
Yeah, and so that's just how it is. Yeah,
but I kind of like that vibe a little bit. I'm not saying it's drug dealers are great people. I'm not saying they're terrible people. I
don't really know where you're going with this, but
no, but I like that. I like the. I mean, it just goes back to the variety, and I don't think all. How do I say this? Yeah, there are nefarious aspects to a city, but I think some of those nefarious aspects. There's a line between it being like a problem, and it adding like some culture to the city. And I don't see these drug dealers as a problem generally. At least, once again, in the hours that I've been here, they've been nothing but friendly. One of them said, "I greet you, you greet me back."
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
But
But so far, I like it. I'm excited to see some of the old school Sehenswürdigkeiten, sightseeing, and then see some of this weird stuff that.
It's going to be awesome.
Sorry, I just had a big burp. Some of this weird stuff that Matthias has mentioned.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
For sure.
I think with that, we should tune out and tune back in. What do you think?
Sounds good. So, so tonight we're gonna have we're not gonna do another Bei Nacht podcast. We're gonna torture people with that again.
Right.
But tell us about what's the guy's name that we're seeing tonight? We're going to dinner with this dude.
Ferdinand. So my buddy Ferdinand was an exchange student at my high school.
Oh.
And he played tennis. I also played tennis back in the day.
He's from Berlin, or he just lives here
No,
now?
he's from Schwäbisch Hall.
Okay.
Really beautiful place, like in the south by Stuttgart.
Mm-hmm.
And super nice guy, very friendly, a couple years younger than us. Really intelligent, really bright guy. And I actually saw him with Jeff while I was here as well. We had dinner. Was really, really nice. And he works actually at a company. Oh shoot, I'm seeing the name in my head now, and it's can't get it
What
out.
what kind of?
Oh man, I'm completely blanking on his name. The name of the company. But it's like I told you they have like the photo booths.
Oh
And
yeah.
like, they look kind of like an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take pictures, and they have like different events at all sorts of, they bring these like when Bayern has like a big party, they'll like install one of those there. Outreach. There we go.
Don, there you go.
Had it.
Don and I went to a rooftop bar in New York City, and at our hotel. It was at our hotel, and they had like the rooftop bar was rented out for a party.
Okay.
But it seems like people were still allowed in there. I couldn't tell.
Huh.
But Don, they had
to be on the list.
They rented a photo booth for the party, and Don and I spent a good 5 minutes in there, just going to town.
I believe it.
And I really, we so wish that we could like see the people that were hosting the party go through it. Like, who are those guys?
Right? Just these two random guys. That's great.
Why are most of these pictures these two guys? Who are they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so bad at photo booths. I don't know how to like I don't have enough facial expressions.
I think you do. You just gotta somehow.
In the moment, I don't. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
People do say I have a very expressive face.
Okay, I could see that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. My sister says I'm super monotone though and unexpressive. I feel like I'm in a therapist office right now.
Right. So tell me more, Jared.
It's the sofas. I can't help it.
Right,
It's the sofas.
Right. These chairs are comfy. I have to say, I would highly recommend this hostel to anybody coming to Berlin, especially if you want to visit Kreuzberg. Backpacksfabrik. It's absolutely fantastic.
Disclaimer though, be okay with communal showers.
Yep, and communal bathrooms.
I've seen a lot of Chad these past couple days.
Just what Jared came here for. Right.
Yeah, communal bathrooms. I'm fine with it, obviously, but it's not my favorite.
Well, yeah, it's nice to have your own bathroom.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
you don't have to leave the room, walk down the hall, but could be worse.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot to look for flip flops.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Well, maybe tomorrow.
It does feel super gross stepping on in those showers without flip flops.
Yeah,
it's like this is. I'm gonna have to get
probably
my
not
feet
super
amputated.
sanitary, but when in Berlin, I guess, and you're underprepared.
It seems like since we've been here, that this is. I mean, German food is not really that big of a deal here. Like you don't go here for German food. Like this is like any sort of big city. You have such variety.
Yeah, you have so many different choices. It's absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. I don't really want to go to that Mexican restaurant, but I'm curious to know what their take on Mexican food is.
Right, and it's interesting to see different cultures how they prepare it and everything, because it's hard to say. Like, there's a Mexican place in Prague that's actually really good. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's actually run by Mexicans, and the food is pretty good. It's not the big difference. So I was talking to a friend of mine is in the way cuisine tastes around the world. is you're using different ingredients from around the world. You know,
Right.
You don't get the same flour, the same vegetables, the same meat.
This
from
is
that
same stuff with
country.
like pizza and pasta in Italy.
Right.
Is that they claim that like they use the flour they use or
Right,
like
and the water.
something about the water.
Yeah, makes it different.
People claim that about New York too. Oh, your bagels suck. It's the water. You know, you need this hard water. I don't know if that's true, but yeah,
I'm no bagel expert here. That's for sure.
Your Pauzza would say otherwise. Is that is that what it was? Pauzza?
Plauza.
Oh, damn it.
Plauza, beer belly.
The insult works way better if I get the word right.
Plauza is a good word. Which is funny because I think in Berlin they also use the term Schnauze. It's like your...
Yeah, like your
know.
schnoz.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
That's also a kind of dog, isn't it?
That's a Schnauzer,
Oh, okay.
I think. But yeah, pretty close.
So yeah, we're gonna go get Vietnamese food.
Yep. And then maybe hit the club.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Every time you say that, I'm not even kidding. Like I kind of get butterflies on my stomach.
Really? Okay. All right.
I wish I was just that person that I could just be like, fuck it, hit the dance floor and just go crazy. Pop some, take whatever pills people put in your hands.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
and go for
that'll
it.
happen. People, every time I've been to a club in Berlin, I've definitely been asked.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure. That seems like.
But I like that. You know, there are also some people there, as Matthias mentioned, who just go to dance.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, first of all, I'm not a random pill kind of guy.
Right.
I was gonna say not that I'm judging, but I probably would.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just not my thing either.
But he barely drinks. He's talking about how he likes Weingespritz, but it's like 1/3 wine, 2/3 water. Like that's
Right.
barely wine at that point.
Yeah, but I think it's just to get a little bit of the taste. You know?
And if alcohol affects you like that, then it affects you like that. I'm kind of
right.
find those people. I'm a little jealous of them.
Right.
I wish I could drink a third glass of wine and be like, whew,
who
easy.
knows? Maybe in a couple of years, that'll
Slow
be
down.
You never know. You never know. But yeah, I don't know. I think the other thing about Berlin is it's just whatever you want to see, whatever you want to do. It's very easy to get to.
Yeah.
Public transportation. It's easy to.
We're gonna see a whole new side of Berlin tonight.
Yes, we are.
What's his area called? This is where he lives?
I'm not sure if that's where he lives.
Okay.
That's a good question. I don't have my phone in front of me. But yeah.
When's the last time you saw him?
When I was here with Jeff.
Oh, right.
So in the summer.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like since high school or something, and is this going to be some weird
that was
reunion?
The last time I saw him.
Beforehand.
That,
Oh, good. So,
but he's one of those friends where, I'm sure a lot of our listeners will relate to this. He's one of those friends that you see him after a long time, and it's like no time has passed.
Right. Yeah.
Like you're still good friends. I love talking to him.
You can go right back into conversation. Like,
Right.
Yeah. I love that.
Right.
What does he do? Oh, that's right. You just
He
said
works for
that.
Upreach.
That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. And then tomorrow will be full on tourist mode, right?
Yep.
I assume.
That's the plan. As I hope this is the alluring yet scary thing about Berlin is you can stay out all night. So we got to be careful and try to get to bed early.
Yeah.
And we still haven't decided yet what clubs we're going to go to. I think both of us would prefer a bar.
Well, I think that's seems like that's what we'll end up doing. Maybe we'll
Could be.
check
There's
out a club.
Cool rooftop bar and
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, that's the thing. You can just wander around Berlin, and we found all sorts of different places.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll find a cool bar somewhere.
Oh,
But
most definitely.
maybe I'm foolish for thinking that I got to visit a club just because I'm in Berlin. Because I don't like it anyway. Like I'm not really gonna enjoy it. I feel like
it's funny when a couple people from Berlin have suggested that to me, like take you to a club. When my response is we're both not really huge club people.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were kind of like, all right, well, there's a lot of other cool bars and stuff. But I think a lot of people do come to Berlin just for the clubbing scene. That's just not why we're here.
We've definitely seen a couple drunken tourists last night.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
more than a couple.
Yeah.
And to all of our American listeners, if you guys could do us a solid, just speak a little quieter.
As I yell with laughter.
Right.
That's so true, though.
It is true.
It's not even that our like the American or English accent or American accent sticks out that much. It's just we do naturally talk louder than everyone.
Right. I don't know why that is. I really don't, but yeah, we do.
You can even notice it when you go to restaurants or something.
Right.
Like just the hum is so much lower.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a different atmosphere. It's a different culture.
Yeah,
and that's why I enjoy speaking German with you, because I feel like we do a lot of whispering. Do you remember
that's
the
true.
word for whisper, Jared?
Knusper? No, I think of knusprig.
Crunchy.
Yeah,
knusprig. Flüstern.
Flüstern, right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Jared loves to test me on my German. This has been going on for 5-6 years now.
Yeah.
And so whenever we're together, we'll be walking around, and then a random word will pop into Jared's mind, or I'll say something and go, oh, how do you say that in German? So he's been keeping
Aren't you a teacher?
me on my toes. Right.
Teach me.
Right, that's true. I should be charging you money for all these lessons over the years. You're going to get an invoice when you go back to Philly.
Yeah, great
$1
trip, buddy.
million.
Just get this to me by
Right.
the end of the week, and everything will be okay.
That's right. If not, I'm going to send my buddy Ronnie over. And
Where's my money? Where's my money?
Right, exactly.
How much was that fake mustache?
Right. Speaking of learning, though, I also think that's the cool thing about Berlin.
Yes.
Is you learn a lot, I think, about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you come here, you either have to be more tolerant and open-minded, because people here are just different. I think in a cool way, in a good way. But it's, if you grow up from a small town, you're not going to see people with the same style. You're not going to see graffiti everywhere. At home, if you came from a small town, you come to Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be tolerant and get kind of used to the big city life a little.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think maybe it helps me a little bit because I'm already coming from a big city.
Right.
But it still is a very different vibe than Philadelphia. But
oh, sure.
But that sort of big city scene is not foreign to me at all.
Right.
So by the way, don't think I didn't forget that you got earlier today.
I was going to ask when you were going to say that. Can you? I think that's kind of an untranslatable. Got.
Oh yeah. So got means essentially to get caught doing, or either to get caught doing something or to get caught. Essentially, to get caught,
get duped,
get duped,
swindled.
get tricked, get caught. Yeah. And so, like, me and my cousin used to always say that to each other.
You got.
In high school, we would say it I'd be like, say I'd be going down the freeway and I'd be going like 85 or 90, and and he's like, and I'd be like, he'd be like, slow down, I ain't trying to get got.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it essentially just means to get tricked or caught for something. So we were walking, and as I mentioned on the Bei Nacht episode, I've kind of gotten used to ignoring people that approach me on the street and sort of just going by and saying no thanks or not even saying anything.
Right.
Chad's the opposite.
I'm horrible at that. Horrible at it.
Oh, before we even get to that, let's talk about what happened yesterday with our two friends from Leipzig.
Oh,
the hell was that?
You're right. In hindsight, I should have said something, but they came up to us speaking English. I responded in German. They were asking us if there was a Sparkasse, which is like a type of bank.
That was weird to begin with. They came up to us speaking English. Clearly, they're German. You spoke German to them.
Yep.
And then they kept speaking German. Why were they coming up to us speaking English?
Because I'm sure they assumed we were American. Were we speaking English or German at the time?
Probably German. And also, we were pretty far away from them before. Like, they started coming up to us before they could probably hear us.
Maybe we look like it. I've been told by a lot of people I look American, whatever the hell that means.
I feel like I can spot out some Americans by looking at them, even ones that dress
but
with some
to
class.
be right. It used to be more in the sneakers.
Yeah.
But now a lot of Europeans are wearing sneakers
it's
too.
because like the Nike's really killing it. So like like the cool running shoes are
comfy.
in.
Yeah. I'm wearing Nikes right now. They're super comfy, waterproof.
Adidas, but
right.
So those two. So go ahead, keep going with this because I'm still confused.
They asked us where the Sparkasse was in English. I responded in German. And I said something along the lines of, "I'm sure there's one around here somewhere."
Mm-hmm.
And
then you asked also, don't you have a cell phone?
Yep. I asked him in German, don't you have a cell phone? He was like, "Yeah." He pulls it out, starts to hand it to me. I'm like, "Bro, why are you handing it to me? Like, I'm
gonna do the exact same thing you could do."
Right. And I asked him, I was like, "Can't you type it in?" And he's like,
and they didn't seem like they seemed pretty like relatively sober.
You think
that's why I said relatively.
Okay.
It didn't seem like a.
What time was it?
It wasn't that late.
Probably 10.
It was right after
10 or 11. No, earlier than that.
It was right after we ate because we had the currywurst and we started walking around. It was probably
That's right.
7 or 8 or 9 or something like
yeah.
that.
You're right.
And so yeah, they walked up to us and asked for the Sparkasse, then handed you the phone and asked you to type it in.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out the closest Sparkasse was like 30 minutes away.
Yep. By transit. By public transit.
Right, you're right. And you're like, well, it looks like you're out of luck. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not from here either.
Right, exactly.
But it was so, like, it was just such a weird encounter. And who does that? Like, who asks for, like when you have a perfectly working cell phone and you are going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I don't ask
Or maybe.
people. I feel guilty, though, sometimes, like, I'll step to the side and be on my phone.
Right.
And I feel like it looks weird, or, like, I feel kind of weird about it because I'm in this cool city where I should just be walking around and enjoying it and not like being on my phone. Like,
yeah, I mean, places. I mean, that probably makes you look like less of a tourist if you're concerned about looking like a tourist.
Yeah,
because everyone's on their phone, and
that's true. That's a good point.
And especially if there's cool stuff to look at, but you live there and you walk by it every day.
Right. You're going to be on your phone. You're right.
Like if someone that walks to work past the East Side Gallery, yeah, maybe it's nice to look at the art, but they're not walking every day and stopping and
gosh, taking pictures.
Let me
20,000 pictures of the same walk.
Let me analyze a new piece every day on my way to work. That just sounds kind of fun. But
that would be cool.
But yeah, no. So I think that probably makes you look less of a tourist. But yeah, that was such a weird encounter. Then today we had another encounter, and Chad just can't say no.
Nope.
And so this one was yesterday was just weird. This one you fully got.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to tell it? All right. So we're at the East Side Gallery, and we're enjoying the beautiful art there. And these two women came up to us and said, "Do you speak English?"
Pretty attractive looking women too. I feel like that's part of
I
feel like that's part of the
game. I didn't really find either of them that attractive, but that's to each his own, I guess.
Oh wait,
anyways,
I didn't see the other one. Now that I think about it, but
they came up and the first thing they said, "Do you speak English?" And we said yes, which I knew they were gonna ask for something.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're like, "Here's this like petition or whatever." It probably isn't even for anything legit.
Oh, I'm sure it's not.
And they come up to tourists, and we looked like tourists. And, I start to write my name, where I'm from. And then I'm not about to give them a lot of money, but I got a €2 coin in my pocket, so I give it to them. And they go, minimum's €5. What I should have said.
Minimum's €5.
What I should have said is, all right, then give me back the €2. That's what I should have said.
You should have.
I didn't.
I mean, but that's hard. It's also hard to think of that in the moment.
Right.
I have so many moments like that where it's like, oh man, I should have said that. That would have been real badass.
Right. And so yeah, all right, well, give me my €2 back.
Right.
And have a nice day.
Well, see, I only started
because I don't live in a big city. I'm not.
Right.
I don't encounter this stuff.
Yeah, you're too welcoming to people.
Yeah.
I only started signing it because we had stopped, and I was like, all right, fine. Well, I'll just write my name on this thing. And I wrote my zip code from when I was in when I lived in Clarkston, Michigan, which is my first home. 48348 shout out. Like it matters even if I put my real zip code, but like they're gonna find me with my zip code. But as I was writing on there, I looked over and saw you. Oh shit! I looked over and saw you giving the €2. Yep. And I was like, oh no, this is a money thing. Yep. And then I just finished writing, and I was like, sorry, I don't have any money. She's like, you don't have €2, and it's funny because you said minimum's €5. She's like, you don't have €1 or €2?
Interesting.
And I was like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't realize this was a got situation.
But then,
so I kind of got too. I just didn't give him anything.
But then we were walking back, and we saw them again.
Oh yeah, I was proud of you for that.
And they said, "Do you speak English?" And I was, even though they saw us 5-10 minutes ago, and just gave them a 9 and kept walking. And
all right, new rule.
Yeah.
If anyone asks us if we speak English, the answer is no.
Right. Well, I do the opposite in the Czech Republic. When people say that, sometimes I'll say either, "Oh no, I don't speak Czech," or
well, you have. Oh, that's true though. That's just a fact.
Mluvím trochu česky. I speak a little.
Okay.
Paráda. I speak a little. But yeah, so that seems to work. Or if they go, sometimes I'll just look at them and they go English, and I won't say anything.
That is a stare down.
And then I'll just say Deutsch, and then they walk away.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. See, I guess the problem.
I should say a made-up language. That'd be even funnier.
The problem Esperanto. The problem with also saying no to if you speak English is you also seem to enjoy helping people that are genuinely like, where's this? Right. Or I have no problem being like, I have no idea. I do that in my own neighborhood sometimes. Although I will say this, you'll be very proud of me. When Brad was here in Philly a couple weeks ago, there was a random guy that we were sitting in front of a restaurant waiting for a seat, and this dude just like, hey, excuse me, does anyone know where the closest guitar shop is? And I actually did. I was like, yeah, actually, if you just walk to Gerard and walk down a couple minutes, you'll find one. I was
You're
like,
a help a brother out.
I
if
felt
he
like a
needs
real
guitar.
local. It felt real good. I was
Nice.
like, oh yeah. And Brad's like, you're officially a local now. I was
Right.
like, yeah.
He's right though. Yeah.
But yeah. So
It's been great though, even
Yeah.
with the rain. And I feel like you've been handling the jet lag like a champ.
thanks, buddy. I feel good. I feel good today. I think I'm a little tired now. And I think also what not helps, but what makes me feel tired also is stopping.
Right.
And so now that we're sitting down and chilling, I'm feeling it a little bit.
Oh, I could go for a nap for sure.
But we don't really have that option. But when we're walking around, it does not really an issue.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, no, I don't believe in a lot of people's jet lag a lot of time.
Okay.
I believe it, but I think it's beatable. Not that I don't believe
Yeah.
it. I mean, obviously, I believe that someone's
You
tired.
can overcome it.
Yeah,
I think we did the right thing by staying out a little bit later,
yeah,
and then
yeah. Because it was
sleeping
by the time we went to bed, it was my bedtime in Philadelphia time.
right, exactly. So problem solved.
Yeah.
That's the trick. We just gotta stay up till 4 a.m. every night, I guess. But yeah,
Well, I tried to do that. When I came back from Tanzania, I came back on a Saturday, and I had to go to work on Monday. So I was like, all right, I can't be jet lagged. So I gotta stay. I got back say 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and maybe a little earlier than that actually, maybe noon to 1. And I was like, I got to stay up for the rest of today and just go to bed at a normal time. Dude, I felt hammered drunk. Like
really.
I felt, and I hadn't drank anything, but I felt like
Okay.
drunk. I was so tired. I
know
was
what you mean.
loopy. Like it was. I felt like I was on drugs or drunk or something. And then I ended up going to bed at like 8 o'clock, but it was fine. But yeah, like but that was obviously more hours, longer time difference.
Sure.
And it's just a different situation, longer flight, all that
Right.
stuff.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, it's been a good trip, and we got 2 days left, two and a
Yeah.
half days left, so we still
Mhm.
got a good amount of time.
Yeah, we still got a lot to see, my
Mhm.
friend.
And next time we check in with the pod, we'll be in Prague with Don. I haven't
Yep.
talked to him, but I'm sure he'll be on. He loves to have a microphone in his face.
Yep.
And
We got extras for that reason.
yeah, and we'll do a Maps Off edition. We won't spoil it now, but Chad thought of a special or
It's in the works.
a little competition between Don and I.
Yep. We'll
And,
see whose sense of direction is better. That's all we'll say.
Well, yeah.
It'll be
Hashtag
fun.
Maps Off.
That's right. That's right.
But for now, let's talk about Infidelix.
Let's do it.
He is from Houston, and we heard about him from Matthias. Matthias, when you're in the bathroom, I'm sure you've heard this before, but when you're in the bathroom, he was talking about how he is a music file and how he loves to throw parties and host people, and how
Nice.
he always loves to be the
Sounds
DJ.
like my kind of guy. Okay.
And he was very their guest, his girlfriend's friends were there, and they were playing music for a bit. And he said, and it was weird, he was joking when you were gone about how I was like, it must have been tough. He's like, and she was laughing. She's like, yeah, it actually probably really was tough for him to just sit there and let other people play music. But he mentioned Infidelix, who if you're lucky, if you're walking around at the right time, you might see him.
Yeah.
Because he just posts up in various spots around Berlin, and plays. And he does other performances, but he seems to take the street performance very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be a very important part of his art,
Yep.
and it almost seems like important part of his art in the sense that it seems like he was talking about how people look down on it and stuff, but it seems like that would be a great avenue for writing.
Sure.
Because it gives you, I assume a lot of rap writing is not, pen to paper notebook and more freestyling, at least his style.
Could be. Yeah, could be.
Obviously some rappers just write like that, but his style seems to be more, especially on the street performance. You can only have so many written raps that maybe he uses. I'm sure he uses,
Right.
but you can only have so many written raps when you're just freestyling for a couple hours. Because at some point you have to, take it somewhere and not just rely on your own stuff. I feel like.
Right. Sure. Well, and he has his own material that I'm sure he writes, like the song. What's the name of the song again?
I wrote it down in my notebook. That's right next to you. Nope, it's right next to me. I moved it. The name of the song is "Anthem of the Lost."
Yep.
And it's he's got a he is a sort of representation of that anti-establishment sort of thing I felt. He raps a lot. Like he has some raps that are your typical, stereotypical, I like hoes and I like to smoke weed rap. But he also has a lot of a little bit more conscious stuff. And this seems like one of them where he seems to actually, be rapping with his feelings or emotions rather than with like just full, rap bravado.
Right.
And I like his cadence too.
Yeah.
It's some rappers rely heavily on the beat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that from him. He seems like his is like more lyrics than beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I enjoy that.
You're right. It's just not rapped words, but there's kind of more of a melody behind it. Definitely a cadence.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. He's fantastic. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, me too. And his name is Infidelix, and the name of the song is Anthem of the Lost. And I'll put that up on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1 on, well, it doesn't matter what day because who knows when you listen to this.
Right, it'll be out. So, Jared, I just want to ask, kind of just to wrap everything up, how would you sum up our trip so far in Berlin?
I'll start by saying it's been exactly how I thought it would go.
Okay.
In the terms of how you and I comport ourselves. So a couple of things I've noticed, because I've traveled with you only a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things I've noticed. I mentioned the other day that you're. Let me start by saying this because what I'm going to say might be construed as an insult. So let me start by saying I mentioned yesterday.
Always a good way to start.
I mentioned yesterday that Chad is a great tour guide and he's great at throwing out multiple ideas, and then it's not even that you just let me decide, because you say I'm good at making decisions, but you're also good at, if I don't, like if I'm like I can't really think of anything, you'll come up with something, because there's a lot of times where sometimes you'll be in situations where it's like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And so, like, even though sometimes I'll be decisive and be like, hey, let's do this. If I'm like, I don't really know, you'll be like, well, how about we try this place out? So I love that balance of throwing out ideas, but then also, saying what you want to do
more
too.
Spontaneous.
Yeah. And so it's been going exactly how I expected in that sense. One thing I didn't know about you is you read every sign that we walk past. I've noticed that.
Really? Okay. I don't realize
Not
that.
read signs, but you read like names of restaurants and stores.
Okay.
You're
right.
These aren't even insults. These are just the little things I've noticed.
Observations?
Yeah. Is you're always commenting on stuff. And you also, I think a difference between you and I is I think I'm way more comfortable with silence than you are.
Yeah. I'm trying to learn that. It's difficult.
and so sometimes like you'll even say stuff and I just won't respond.
Yep.
And it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal, but it's just like I think I'm just more comfortable with silence than Chad is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And once again, I think about it. I don't even think those are insults.
I
but
ask
those
stupid
are
rhetorical questions a lot that
Yeah.
don't really need an answer.
Yeah,
we
you
were
do.
taking pictures earlier and it clicked and I was like, all right, Dick, take it. And Jared just kind of looked at me.
It's like I'm sitting right next to you.
Like I don't know.
I'll let you know in a second.
Exactly.
But it's just little observations I've had. But it's not, it's whatever. We all have different personalities. It's just fun things I've noticed. But I think as far as us being travel partners, it's gone exactly how I hoped.
Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of
and
fun.
It's been a lot of fun. And we've still got, I've been here for literally a day.
Right.
So we still got 5 days left of fun.
5 days of fun for sure. That's for sure. I've noticed, the only thing that I've noticed, and it wasn't even really anything new, but this trip has just reconfirmed how fast of a walker you are. Like last night, I was just double checking the way home so I wouldn't take us, 30 minutes the wrong way. And then I look up, I'm like, where the hell is Jared? They're like all the way up at the top of the steps.
Oh, that was at the U-Bahn. Because I looked back, I was like, where did Chad go?
Right. And then after I looked up and I saw you so far, I was like, I'm gonna just go at this pace and see how long it takes you to keep going and then look.
I've been I've been trying, much like you struggle with silence. I've been actively telling myself that slow down, because and it's not even that
you just walk with purpose. You got places to be.
It's not even that I don't think you can keep up or anything. It's just that I also need to remind myself that I'm trying to take in the things around me and enjoy what I'm looking at.
We walked by the East Side Gallery pretty quick at first. If you didn't notice.
I did notice that, but I also knew that we'd do 2 takes of it.
Right.
So I wasn't as concerned about that.
Right.
But yeah, no, like I've been very aware of that, and I'm trying to not for your sake, but more just for enjoying myself's sake, and not just always walking because barely. I mean, we have to be somewhere at a certain time now,
Right.
but we're barely ever on like a timetable.
Right. Yeah, and that's the nice thing about, going on a vacation with a friend is, you don't have to. You can plan stuff to the minute, to the hour if you want, but I think sometimes the beauty of being able to relax a little bit is traveling when you want.
Yes.
When you want to go places. And although I'm super looking forward to seeing Ferdinand and having dinner with him, we both were kind of like, well, we've been so used to having no structure. Now we have this little tiny bit of structure in a place where we need to be at a certain time.
But it's so funny too how like one dinner date is like, oh my god, all this structure and our
right, because we've kind of just been like, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, even with Matthias, we were like,
exactly.
Well, it's like, hey, we didn't even know if he was. We were halfway to his house or to his area. We didn't even know if he was free or not. We're like, if he's not, we'll just explore Neukölln.
Exactly, and we did a little bit.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So my goal, though, and we'll be able to talk about this on the next episode, my goal for you, though, is to show you as much of Berlin, but not just show you to see it, like a quick, here it is, okay, let's go. But, like, I want you to just try to soak in the vibe of Berlin.
Yeah.
Because it has a different vibe everywhere, but it's all Berlin. Like, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I know what you mean, where it's like, yeah, I mean, that's the same with any sort of city, where it's like, every city has its personality. But like if you were to say, it all depends on how far back you want to look at it. So if we're in Berlin, we'll say, wow, Neukölln is so different than Kreuzberg, for example. Well, they're not. That's a bad example. Right. But you'd say two bits different districts.
And Kreuzberg.
Yeah, you'd say those are completely different. But if you were to be in France, you'd be like, wow, those Berliners are weirdos or whatever,
Right.
And you wouldn't specify
right.
You wouldn't specify which neighborhood of Berlin if you're just some visitor. Like the Swiss friends that were there, they've never been to Berlin,
right?
So they'd be like, wow, Berlin is like this, like I'm doing.
Right. Yeah. It's all really relative, but I think that's the cool thing about Berlin is you can find a place for everybody.
Yes.
You know, it's really great. And like I've mentioned, it's a huge city. I always forget how big it is. And the other nice thing about it is, there's something everywhere going on for everybody, and so Berlin is just a great place to explore.
Yes. Yeah, and it's perfect to explore because it's gigantic too.
Right.
Sometimes, I've lived in Philly for so long that I can explore and be like, and it's rare that I have to go real far out to like find something new.
Sure.
But that it's tough too because in Philly there's more areas not to go, I'd say, than in Berlin.
Yeah.
Or at certain times of the day.
We were talking about that last night walking around.
It was kind of eerie though, walking around last night like at 2 a.m. and it was completely silent on some streets.
Well, that's when we were more walking through the residential area, and it was completely silent for most.
And that's another thing I like about Berlin too, is it's still like, it might be very different than the rest of Germany, but it's still Germany in the sense that like those areas where it was quiet, I'm sure they're very serious about it being quiet.
Sure. Definitely. Most definitely.
Like they would not be cool with people partying down that street.
Right.
And it's like, no, I understand this is Berlin, but you party where you party. Leave us alone.
Right.
And so I do like that it's distinctly different, but it's still very German.
Exactly. And so I'm really excited to see what the next couple Berlin Bei Nacht and Berlin Bei Tag how they'll be. I'm excited to explore the city some more with you, see some good tourist places. We'll have plenty of pictures up for everybody on Instagram of our travels and shenanigans, so it should be fun. So we're looking forward to it. And if you guys are curious about any recommendations for Berlin, we're by no means experts, but we're happy to share our stories and our experience with you, or just tune into this episode one way or another. And we appreciate your support. You can check us out on Twitter, Untranslatable1, especially for our Song of the Pod by Infidelix or Infidelix, depending on what language you're speaking. Also, check us out. Shoot us an email with an untranslatable phrase, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. And, of course,
spread a little love.
Of course, do not forget, check out these popping pictures on Instagram and 5-star reviews. That would be great.
Stop having our friends make fun of us.
That's right. Exactly. We're trying to build a podcast empire here. We need them reviews. So thank you so much. We hope you've enjoyed the Berlin Bei Nacht und Tag edition of the Untranslatable podcast. We're looking forward to bringing you some other things out of Prague very soon. So stay tuned. Thank you. Vielen Dank. Dankeschön. And as we say here at the Untranslatable podcast,
Yaku.
ooh, very good. Very good. All right.